Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is Merapi. And this is really interesting. So, like I said, in Flash you can't natively record microphone. Merapi is a project that's owned by Roundarc now. Roundarc, yes. One works for them, so yeah. So, it basically was something that I bumped into this very notable Flex developer named Adam Flater back in, I think it was like August of last year in San Jose at 360 Flex. Which is a very cool Flex conference, by the way, if you're into that stuff. And we were talking, and he was getting Merapi going. And essentially what it is it's a bridge between Air, Adobe Integrated Runtime, and Java, so that you can, through Air, you can run an Air app and you can code, like we're all comfortable with coding an ActionScript and doing cool stuff there. And then you drop Merapi in, and you can actually interface with a lot more stuff on the desktop than Air can currently access. So as you know, Air can do a ton of stuff. You can do database, you can do a file system access, some really cool things, transparency, online, offline detection. But there's also, it stops at a point, and it can't access any devices on its system. And the reason is, of course, it's really hard for somebody to come out with a cross-platform runtime like Air is, because it's supposed to work equally and matches performance on both Mac and PC and Linux, and it's very hard for them to know what your system's capabilities are, and be really flexible. So I think there's some limitations initially with the first version in 1.5. So Merapi sort of fills that void and comes in and says, we're going to bridge you. So one of the cool things that Adam shows is he actually controls a remote control car with an Air app, because he basically taps into the system's ability to access USB and transmit a signal and all this cool stuff. So you really don't need to know any Java, and the documentation is great at the Merapi site, which is merapiproject.net. It was created by Adam Flater, currently maintained by Dave Meeker, Andy Powell. Dave works for Roundarc as well, as does a bunch of other cool people. So,
as does Adam now.
As does Adam now, yes. I did say Adam and Dave. Okay, but yes, you're right. Yeah, so that's why the Roundarc logo is there. But anyway, bottom line is Merapi is cool stuff. Actually, I'll just say cool shit because there's a session here, so I'm just going to go a little bit HBO on you. So anyway, let me show you what I did with Merapi, because this is cool. Again, something I didn't know or think you could do. And again, it's not native in Flash, so I don't want to get confused like I'm saying one thing and showing you another. This is actually sort of a little bit borderline magic. So I use Flex Builder to code ActionScript. How many people use like Flash Professional here? And how many people use Flex Builder? And how many people don't code Flash or Flex at all? Okay, that's really interesting. So what else is people using for an IDE?
Flash Develop.
Okay, Flash Develop. Okay, cool.
It's okay.
So we're all using a mixture of stuff. But anyway, coming in here, basically Adam helped me with this. We actually met. We talked back in January. We talked about the idea of this and how could you record a conversation. How could you record the microphone? He says, well, I think Merapi could do it. And we kind of went back and forth, and then he did this cool demo with us at our panel at South by Southwest, and then basically was kind enough to sort of walk me through it. So I was able to implement it very quickly. It took us like 10 minutes to do the knowledge transfer, which for those of you who work with code and sort of elaborate projects know that's very, very fast and efficient. So essentially what I have to do here is I just basically have to run this little Java app, which is simple as double clicking on it, and that's going to be running on my system. And then I have to go to this little Air app that I wrote, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to play this, and it's going to launch an Air app at some point in life. It takes a couple of seconds sometimes. There you are. Okay. Maybe put the little Merapi logo in there too. So using Merapi to record the microphone. So this is Air. And Air basically calls an instance of Flash Player, and through that we're going to access the microphone, do that, all that cool stuff. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to say record. I'll say, hey, what's up? Everyone yell something. Yeah, good. I like that. It reminded me of like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm or something where everyone was yelling all that stuff. Anyway, very cool. So now what happened is I stop the recording, I go back on my file system, right? I'm going to refresh this. Bang. And there's the recording that we just made. Pretty neat, huh? And so I'm going to double click this and we should hear it on the system. Oh, I have to put my sound on here.
Good. I like that. Reminded me of like that.
Try it again. We're having a little.
What's up?
You know, everyone yell something. Yeah, good. I like it.
So anyway, we recorded something through Flash using Merapi. Very cool. All right. Thank you for that. So I think that's pretty neat. And I mean, it's very simple stuff. Basically, I don't want to do too crazy code dive here. I mean, I can show this stuff to you later, but essentially, Flash taking the microphone and then it's relaying that to Merapi. Java's tapping that, recording that into a file, and then serving it up on, it's not serving it up, it's right there on the client. And then you can do whatever you want with that. In the air, you could now take that file, pull it in, put it in a list, put it in a playlist, upload it to a server, share it with other folks. It's really neat stuff. And then we took it a step further and kind of brought it into a ribbit level, which I'm probably not going to show here, but what we did is we took that file and we brought it down. The Java can actually record not just the microphone, but the sound card as well. So we actually got the whole two-way conversation that we were having over Ribbit. So we were actually talking to each other on the phone and got that whole conversation recorded on one end, which is pretty amazing stuff. So Merapi's great. I mean, you can go here, let me pop in on the site and show, those of you who like to get ambitious on the weekends, it's a great project to just dive into. Really good documentation, very well maintained, and you can go download it and start playing with it. And then their team's really good and helpful. And then anything you do here, let me know, and I'll write up it on getmicrophone.com.